All right, welcome back to another 2021 MLB Draft interview. In the hot seat today is J.P. Massey from the University of Minnesota. J.P., welcome to the show.
How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. We're excited to have you on the show. Ralph here. He's been a big advocate of yours. He's had a high grade on you for a long time. I want to jump right into this stuff, man, because the stuff was loud your freshman year. You shoved some fours. You were right in that 90 to 92 mile an hour range on your fastball. But from the sounds of it, you're throwing some sixes and sevens this fall. Kind of talk about your maturation, your strength, and what it's been like these last couple of years building up that arm strength.
Yeah, so I went into school and I was definitely one of those big project pieces. I was kind of like a baby deer out there. I was like 6'5", 175, and it was kind of all over the place to start. And I'm sorry, I guess the phone's just gonna keep ringing today, but
let it rock.
Yeah, and it was definitely a long process. I'm super thankful for my pitching coach and my strength and conditioning coach. They really took the time to work with me, and it wasn't just like the fall. It went all the way into the spring to where it was a lot of after practice sessions and things like that, cleaning a lot of mechanics up. And as I put that strength on and kind of grew up, and hopefully, we're still working on it and turning into a man and growing up. But as it kind of all built into one, it really started to click for me. And that's when I started to see the jumps.
Sure. Following up on that a little bit, talk us through some of the stuff that, you're really sort of focused on in terms of development, whether that be on the mound and sort of sessions and even in the weight room, et cetera. Interested to hear.
Yeah. I think if it's one thing that you can take from this COVID season or whatever we're going to call this patch that we just went through, it's just to focus on the daily process and make sure you take every day as serious as possible, because you don't know what tomorrow holds. So I'm really trying to take a focused approach in the weight room, getting as strong as possible and cleaning up some things mechanically, just making sure that my kinetic chain is working properly, because then everything on the mound becomes a lot more effortless. And that's the main goal, is trying to stay healthy and trying to do things the right way on the mound. And I think the rest of the stuff kind of takes care of itself once you have consistency built.
I want to talk more about the weight room, because you put on 35 pounds since you've arrived to campus. 35, 40 pounds. I can tell you, my freshman year, I didn't put on 35 or 40 good pounds. It was a little bit different. So yeah, I mean, you've gone from like this 6'5", wiry, long levered kid to now kind of a bulked up, pitcher body, 205, 210 pounds. How'd you put on that much weight? Was it just a matter of getting into the weight room and getting into better nutrition, and kind of what do you attribute that to?
I'm going to be honest. I definitely put most of that to COVID. I mean, if you talk to my strength and conditioning coach, they were on me my whole freshman and sophomore year. And I promise I was trying. I promise. But it just wasn't clicking for me. And when I came home, it wasn't much for me to do. I shut down throwing for a little bit just because I didn't have any reason to throw. Everything got shut down. And so I had to really pick some things that I wanted to focus on, that when we came out of COVID, I knew I was going to improve on. And for me, that was just eating and working hard. And sadly, we didn't have many facilities open. I was blessed to have a friend that had a gym in his garage that we were able to get in. And then my trainer opened up a little bit earlier than most places. But man, I was just at home stuffing myself every single day and working out, and it just kind of all turned into muscle. And I was really happy about it. And now just trying to keep building on that.
That's the dream. I wish I could do that during quarantine. Just stuff my face and put on muscle. Nope.
Yeah, that's the dream for a lot of people. I think people were stuffing their face, but not necessarily putting on muscle across the board. So let me ask then, based on that timeline, when did you get back to sort of pitching again, getting on the mound, and we'll say doing some more serious sessions? And sort of where were you at when you first got back? Was the velocity back, or did you have to sort of build up to where you're at now?
I believe I started throwing in June. So we came home like the middle to end of March, and I started ramping back up like the end of May, just playing a little light catch, getting my arm moving in a circle. And then June, I started picking it up a little bit, long toss, and trying to get ready for the fall. And coming back, I had a lot of mechanical things that like I said, I wanted to clean up, just because I felt like it was some spots during the season that I was leaking a little bit and losing some velocity and consistency. And I figured it was no better time. Like, I had no rush to get ready for anything. So I really tried to focus on cleaning up my mechanics. And then I was blessed to be able to go up to school and work out every once in a while with my pitching coach, just doing some things and sending them some video. So I was really excited for this fall. And we had a lot of interesting techniques that he brought out this fall. We had some speakers in the bullpen with babies screaming and all types of different things that he brought out to try to test us and really put us under the fire. Our first scrimmage, we had it where if you went 2-0 or 3-1, it's automatic walk. So it was a lot that was changed. And I was really excited for this fall that he was really implementing. And I mean, sadly, it didn't work out the way we planned, but I mean, I feel like I got a lot out of it just from those first few weeks.
Talk us through your arsenal a little bit, because a lot of people probably aren't familiar with the pitches that you throw, and kind of tell us what you bring to the bump.
So got the prototypical 4-seam, and then I also have a 2-seam, which honestly, a lot of people think that I just changed the grip up, and I don't. Like, I throw my 4-seam, and it's kind of like a cross-seam fastball. So every once in a while, I'll get on top of it, and it'll just really run for me. And so it's nice. I mean, I guess if you don't always know what it's going to do, neither does the hitter. But usually when I'm going into righties or away from lefties, it'll run a little bit more. And then I got my slider, which is, I mean, I picked it up my sophomore year, and it was really a good pitch for me. I was really excited. A lot of guys said I went home and asked Santa for a slider for Christmas and got one. So they were a little upset about that. But I really worked on that this offseason, and it played out pretty well. And then I got my curveball, which was a good pitch for me my freshman year. And I didn't throw it as much my sophomore year. As I started to work into more of a starter's role, I was implementing a few more of my pitches just because I didn't feel like I needed it. I mean, if I'm in a situation where I know a hitter's good, I don't want to get beat with my third and fourth best pitch. And if I'm doing well with the first two, I don't really want to steer away from it. So as I obviously moved into starting and a little bit more scouting report came out, I knew I was going to have to implement them, but it was still a good pitch for me. And then my changeup, which I was able to throw as a wipeout pitch. It was pretty nasty for me, especially when a guy was up there looking for something else, and it just kind of fell off the table and went the other way. I got some really ugly swings, but now I just want to be able to go out there and show all 4 pitches in any count. And that was really what I worked on this offseason for sure.
Nice. Appreciate you bringing us through that and sort of, where the arsenal's at this point in time. I wanted to dig in a little bit to, one of your teammates, Max Meyer, who was obviously, top 3, top 5 pick last year in the MLB Draft. What have you sort of taken away from, watching him work, besides the fact that, his stuff is just absolutely insane? Are there any sort of little tidbits you've picked up from him? Things you've sort of tried to do maybe that he does, or talk to us a little bit about Meyer. He's a real interesting pitcher. One of my favorite guys, actually in the last draft as well.
Yeah, he was definitely an interesting character, to say the least. He was one of my good buddies on campus. It was really sad to see the way it kind of ended for all of us. But, I mean, the kid worked really hard. You might not have seen it all the time, which is one of the things that I really could appreciate about him. He wasn't a guy that was going to try to show you that he's going to outwork everybody and do every single thing so everyone can see it. It was a lot of things behind closed doors or when he was on his own that I could appreciate, because I'm not a big guy in the posting workouts on social media or anything like that. I just feel like you need to get your work in, and you don't have to tell everybody about it, and then they'll see it on the field. And he really did that. And he also had this mentality that he knew he was really good and he wasn't going to put any pressure on himself. And I really like that. And I think that's why he was so successful in big moments. He was able to kind of relax and treat it like a game. I mean, at the end of the day, this sport is a game. It's not life or death or anything like that. And I think for a guy who was in such large moments, whether it was USA or closing in a big regional game for us or anything like that, I think you could really see how he was going to go out there and compete. But if you looked at him before the game, he was just really relaxed. It was another day at the office and he was going to go do what he does.
Did you take any part of that slider you got for Christmas from Max?
I talked to him a little bit about it. The kid's a freak. His grip for a slider was unlike anything I've ever seen, and I couldn't do it at all. I mean, so I wouldn't say I took my slider from him, but I definitely talked through a few things that he did, maybe in his delivery, some of his cues, some of his cues, that he would use when he was on the mound. And I implemented a few of those, but for the most part, my slider is a lot different than his. His is kind of like a wipeout power slider, and mine is a little bit slower, but has a little bit more break, I would say. And it's still, both of them are great pitches, I feel like. So, I mean, hopefully one day we'll be able to match up against each other and we'll be able to see who's really better.
Hey, really quick, Ralph.
Maybe
really quick.
Sure,
On that note, could you grab a baseball and show us the grip of that slider and how you throw it?
Yeah, so my slider, I don't know if it's weird or not. I've shown a couple guys and they've always gone like, really? But I actually watched a video, shout out Pitching Ninja. It was of Bob Gibson's slider, and he said he grabbed it like a two-seam basically, and then just slid his finger right over. And I tucked my thumb on my fastball as well. So basically, it's kind of like in the middle of the seam, and then my thumb is right under it, and I'll just treat it exactly like my fastball. I mean, my fastball is just here, and it's pretty much the same feel, and I just try to rip through it just like my fastball. And I mean, it comes out pretty straight and then kind of falls off the table. So it's been pretty good for me.
That's beautiful. I like that. Pulled it right from Pitching Ninja. You got the hat on too, Joe. So it's like
that's a coincidence, man.
All right, Pitching Ninja. You better pay up for the commercial.
Yeah, get you some royalties, man.
Yeah, right. JP, I want to ask a little bit in terms of like, utilizing tech. Are you a feel guy or a tech guy? Are you sort of a hybrid of the two? And, if you are using any tech, what sort of stuff have you used and how much of it is sort of being utilized there at Minnesota?
Yeah, I would say we're pretty blessed. We have a lot of technology, whether it's Rapsodo or it's the high-tech cameras that can slow everything down. I would say I'm a hybrid. Coming into school my freshman year, I didn't really have a lot of technology at home. So going in, I was kind of like wide-eyed and super excited about everything. And I would say it kind of steered me away from who I was. It really got me caught up on how hard am I throwing, what's my spin rate and all of that. And I just felt like I kind of lost some of the game in me. And it just kind of made it really difficult to go out there and compete when you're really thinking about way too much. So obviously it wasn't just my decision. My pitching coach and some of my teammates kind of helped me get through that. And my sophomore year, I kind of got back to who I am. And that's really just being a big field guy and trusting my mechanics and knowing my mechanics. At the end of the day, if you take care of everything over the rubber, all of your numbers and everything are going to take care of themselves. So I do still use things like Rapsodo. I definitely feel like they're efficient in the right moments, in the right time of your season and everything like that. So I like using those things to check out my spin rate, my efficiency, the little things, if I'm on time, all of that, if I'm cutting the ball a little bit, my efficiencies. But other than that, I like to just really focus on being over the rubber and going out there and competing.
Well, let's talk about competing a little bit. Big 12, a lot of good competition in the Big 12. Talk to us a little bit about maybe who the toughest hitter that you've had to tee off against in your time at Minnesota has been.
Toughest hitter. Honestly, last year, I remember the Arizona game. Austin Wells got drafted to the Yankees. I remember before the game, we had like a small scouting report, and I'm not huge in the scouting reports. My biggest thing is I like to know the guy. I want to know the guys in their lineup that you have to be careful with. When you get into a hitter's count, if you have the opportunity, don't just give in because they'll get you for one. So I like to know that. And I remember we circled his name, and I remember walking to the field, and it was just a bunch of scouts all there for him. And I was like, okay, this is the guy. This is going to be a fun matchup. And honestly, in the offseason, I didn't throw my sliders to lefties. I threw my curveball, and it was really good. And then I got in the season, and as always, what you do inside against your teammates never works outside. So I threw against Oregon. It didn't work. I smother hooked some curveballs in the lefties. And so my pitching coach was like, all right, we're going to throw sliders to both because it was a really good pitch. First slider I throw to a lefty is Austin Wells batting second. Pluck him. All right, let's see if we can get through the first now. So we get through, and he comes back around, and I think I got him to fly out to left field. And then the third at bat was when I knew this was like a professional hitter. He was up there. He was waiting on his pitch. He's willing to take off speed until he got his fastball. He fought me and battled me until I got 3-2. And I think this was the last pitch I threw of the game, and the last pitch was like 95, a half an inch off the black, 3-2 with 2 outs, and he just spits on it. Just doesn't even think about taking it. And I remember when I released it, I was like, that's perfect. That's exactly where you want it. And the kid's approach was just like marvelous. I mean, I understand why he did the great things he did his freshman year and why he was the first round pick, but he was definitely one of the toughest at bats that I had. And, I mean, I definitely don't want to see him too many more times, hopefully later on.
Love that insight.
Yeah, no, it's a good one as well. Having watched Wells a lot down the Cape, I can say that's very on brand. You're right on with Wells. I guess digging in on the other side of the ball, what are some pitchers that you've faced off against, or at least seen on the other side of the field, that you're really impressed by, just in terms of overall stuff? Somebody's calling you to tell them to throw their name on.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I guess I'm just a super popular guy today.
Hey, drop my name. Drop my name.
It looks good.
No one even calls these phones. I don't know. It's just something about today. But a guy on the other side, I mean, like, obviously I've been blessed to be right next to Max, he's one of the best I've ever seen step on the mound in front of me. A guy on the other side that was really impressive, though. I got to watch Kevin Abel pitch my freshman year. He didn't throw against us, but I went to the game, and I think he threw against New Mexico State or somebody. And this was right after he had his College World Series run, and that was pretty impressive to see him work, him and Adley back there. Tommy Henry was pretty good. That whole Michigan starting rotation my freshman year was pretty impressive, to say the least. I mean, when we faced them, they weren't quite the Michigan Wolverines that took off and made it to the CWS yet, but man, they had some talented arms there that whole weekend, every day. I mean, it was Henry, Kaufman, and Criswell, and I mean, they all turned out to be really good arms. Yeah, those are probably like the top 4 arms I've seen off the top of my head. I mean, obviously, every Friday night guy you see from big schools are going to be pretty talented. I think the guy from TCU, Johnny Ray, is that his name?
Yep, Johnny.
Yeah, he was really good. He definitely battled Max, and if you can do that, you're pretty good, you're pretty solid.
JP, you strike me as an astute observer of the game.
I try to be. I try to look and learn whenever I can.
Well, we got 9 months between now and draft day next July. You are draft eligible this upcoming year, and I'm sure there's things that you want to, improve about your game between now and then. Can you kind of pinpoint anything that you're looking to take another step forward in the coming months?
I mean, honestly, I have a list of things that I want to improve on. Like I said, I've been really just trying to take an approach of focusing on today and just keep getting stronger and keep improving. Once it's time to get back on the mound and really get after it, I want to build that consistency. I want to go out there, and every time I step on the mound, my team feels like we're going to win that ball game. I want them to know that they're going to get the same hard work and performance every single week. And I think I started to show that a little bit my sophomore year. And hopefully, if we had a full year, I was going to be able to really put my feet down on the ground and get going. But that was one thing that I really did learn from Max. I mean, every single week, he was just consistent. You knew exactly what you were going to get out of him. And it's really, for me, how bad is your bad? Our pitching coach really talks about that, so I'm not going to steal that like that was my saying, but he really talks about how bad is your bad. And the most consistent guys that are on the mound go out there every single week, and you know the type of performance you're going to get. And even when they struggle, they're going to find a way to keep your team in the ball game and make sure you have a chance to win. And if you can complete that, you're going to have pretty good numbers at the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, I don't have any other questions remaining for JP. I don't know if you do. Certainly throw them out there, or we can hit him with a goofy question before we wrap up here. Like we
say we hit him with a goofy question, put him on the hot seat a little bit.
All right, I threw one out last night, so it's your turn to throw out the goofy question.
You did. It's a little bit easier with the college guys because they get in front of big crowds and different schools, and they've got their opinions. So I'm going to throw what I've been throwing out to. I'll throw out what I said to Jordan Wicks the other day. Is there a fan base that needs to bring more to the field that's just not cutting it?
A fan base? So is that in college or big league?
Yeah, yeah. You could say I mean, Jordan said Baylor, so I'm not gonna. Hopefully you don't say Baylor, but
I mean, I'm sure it's a lot different for guys down south. I mean, those fans really come out. I can't even blame our fans. Some of the games I barely want to be there when it's 28 degrees and I played in the snow. It's been all types of things since I've been to Minnesota, so I can't blame them for that. Man, a fan base that needs to come out. Oof, that's tough. That's really tough. I'm gonna go big leagues, and I am a Mets fan, and so this has been a really good week for me.
It's been a
Having
good
a new
week.
owner, yeah, getting the new owner. I mean, DeGrom's going to go out there and dominate as usual, and I would love to see some big moves this offseason and see the Mets fan really come out and try to take over New York. I mean, I know the Yankees will always be the Yankees, but I think we can compete this year. We got some money coming in behind us, and it's no more of the little Mets. So I think if some people can show up at Citi Field, we can really show some things off.
That is
All
a
right.
good answer.
Good answer.
Yes, sir.
There you have it. That is J.P. Massey telling out the masses that the future in New York is a Mets future. It's blue and orange now in the city. The pinstripes are dead. Good luck next year in the draft, man. We're all rooting for you to go, incredibly high in the first round. I think the talent is there. You've shown throughout this interview that you got a great head on your shoulders. And you do a great job of just sort of articulating your thoughts in the game. And we talked to a lot of players, man. And I just want you to know, I think you do a great job of that. So good luck. Appreciative. Thanks for jumping on the show. Viewers out there, thanks for tuning in. Joe, any closing words before we wrap this up?
No, man, we're a big fan of you, JP, and looking forward to a full slate of games in 2021.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Give us baseball.